All right, everybody. Hello, good afternoon. It's Ruth Jones with the Office of Alumni Engagement here at Mines, and welcome to our May Lunch Bunch program. As many of you may already know, this is our last lunch bunch for the semester. We're going to be taking the months of June and July off, and we'll be back with new programming starting in August and then continuing through the fall semester. So make sure to keep an eye on our website. For those of you on campus, watch the Daily Blast. And for all the alums on the call, of course, our alumni newsletter will also be a place where you can learn about who our speakers are going to be. So we're working to firm that up, and we welcome you to all come back in August. It's great to see you all. We've got a good group today, a big group. If this is your first lunch bunch, thank you for logging in and welcome. And of course, if you're a returning lunch buncher, thanks for your continued support. Many of our programs and ideas come from you. So we appreciate that. And it's always great to see your faces on the screen each month. Okay, well, if you haven't noticed, there's a lot going on the corner of 18th and Illinois here on campus. And as I was saying a minute ago, a lot of us here in our building at the Welcome Center have had a front row seat to this project going up. The nonstop buzz of cranes, cement trucks, and a multitude of people running around to build the new Energy and Materials Research Facility. When this is completed in 2027, it is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kirsten and Terry, this will be the largest academic building on the campus.
Yes.
So today you're going to get a front row seat yourselves. We're excited to hear from Kirsten Volpe, who is Mines Executive Vice President, COO, CFO, and Treasurer, as well as Dr. Terry Hogue, who is Dean of the Earth and Society programs and also a professor in the Civil and Environmental Engineering program, who each will share their vision behind the facility, updates on construction progress, and what we all can expect from the programs and partnerships that this will support. So very excited to get the inside look at this. I encourage you to save your questions for the chat or to ask them live at the end. There's quite a bit of content and a short video to get through, which we know you'll enjoy. So before we start, a few quick reminders. As I said, use the chat for your question, or we'll chime in at the end of the presentation. We'll get to those questions. Many of you know, but as a reminder, all of our lunch brunch programs are recorded. And once we edit it and post it, you can watch it again or share with a friend. You can get to it by going to the weare.mines.edu site, which is where you went to register for today's program. So like I say, if you want to listen to it again, share with a friend. It's a really great resource of programs now going back nearly 5 years when we started doing Lunch Bunch in a virtual format. As always, we welcome your ideas for future topics. You can reach out to me or anyone in the alumni office to make those happen. So without further ado, let's get rolling. Please help me welcome both Kirsten and Terry to Lunch Bunch. Take it away.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth, and welcome everybody. I have seen many of you before. You are quite the august Lunch Bunch group, and I'm always happy to come share what's happening on campus. So this is a really, really exciting project and strategic initiative for the university. So I'm really happy to share it with you. As we think about the building, and I'm gonna talk first about the building and really it's the thought process behind it and how it's shaping up and what it's going to look like. And then Dr. Hogue will talk a little bit more broadly about our partnership with the USGS and how this building will really facilitate, enable the strengthening of our partnership. So we've, many of you know that we've had a really strong relationship with USGS for a number of years. We have had partnership with the National Earthquake Center for well over 50 years, as they've been living with us on campus in a building that is just directly west of this particular building. But, you know, we have been, as the university and USGS, really started a little over probably about, and I was trying to remember back, it's 9 or 10 years, but about 9 years ago, talking about how could we take the core strengths of Mines and the core strengths of the USGS, and how could we bolster that and make both entities better. And so we began strategizing quite some time ago. And during that time frame, the USGS was actually looking for a home for their energy and minerals division. They have multiple different mission division areas, and their energy and minerals division is currently located on the Lakewood Federal Center at Kipling and 6th Avenue. And they really, both entities really were looking for new, better, modern facilities that could support their research and all the work that they do. So really in concert with Mines, Mines leadership as well as USGS leadership, we came up with what we thought and think is a really fantastic long-term strategic strengthening of our partnership. So this building, the Energy and Minerals Research Facility, we lovingly call it EMRF, and it will be the home for USGS's mineral and energy divisions. Both of those divisions will be coming over. There will be about 200 researchers that will occupy the building from USGS. But it's also going to be jointly occupied by Mines. So we're going to have Mines faculty, graduate students, postdocs be part of this, and we will be working side by side with USGS researchers and really engaging our students on an everyday opportunity for them to not only work with Mines faculty, but the expertise that's happening at the USGS. So the building, this is the, if you're looking west, it's unfortunately there's no mountains there, so you don't know that you're looking west, but this is what the building looks like standing east, looking west. And this building is going to be funded through the 2021 Investment and Infrastructure Jobs Act. So after many years of trying to get this funded through the university, and then, you know, March 2020, COVID happened and the world stopped. The university wasn't able to support it anymore. So Congressman Ed Perlmutter worked feverishly to get this building in that in the bipartisan bill, and was successful. So we're very thrilled that the funding is coming from the federal government. Mines is building the building. It's on Mines land, and Mines will maintain the building. So it's our team, our expertise, our architects, and our construction team that is building this building. It, as Ruth said, it will be the largest academic building on campus, 200,000 square feet of labs, offices, graduate student space, classrooms, and we are targeting a January 2020 date or 2027 date for opening. The construction, I think this is kind of a pretty fun pictorial of progress to date. If you kind of look at this corner here, if you can see my cursor, that is the existing USGS occupied building for their National Earthquake Center. So we are building right in the backyard of the Earthquake Center. So you can see that over time, this is started about a year ago. We've made a lot of progress. Highly complicated building, and we've got 2 underground floors and we've got four floors above ground. And then here's just a still of what the building looks like with the mountains in the background. And you can see it's a quite large building, but it will fit in really, really nicely with the rest of the mines buildings and the mines decor. So this is the building, as I mentioned, this is what you just saw with that time-lapse video of the building going up. It is a very, as you can tell, modern building. And as I noted in the prior picture on the right here is that earthquake center. So we are very pleased that we will be able to have a connection between the energy and the minerals center into the earthquake center and even strengthen further our partnership with USGS. Now this is with your patience here, this is about a 2.5 minute virtual fly through of the building, but it really does show and depict how it's gonna look in January 2027. So here we go. And again, this is the view looking west. And then we turn around the building and look at it from the west a different way. But if any of you remember campus, parking lots used to be here. So we have we've lately been building a lot of buildings on parking lots. So hopefully next time you come to campus, you'll be able to experience our new beautiful parking garage that's just east of what this building will be. But you can see this building has an incredible amount of glass. We wanted it to be, again, matching quite nicely with how campus and the campus buildings look today. And then we will step inside the building and see what it looks. That will be the main entrance. There's a beautiful atrium that goes from the basement level all the way up, which is you're seeing a bit of a peek through right there. And then this, I think the architects did a great job. You can see on the brick on the right, there's a lot of different coloring, and they given its mines and given that this is going to be a building on the earth, energy, and minerals, they wanted to depict that brick there to be more of the geologic layers that we see out in the real world. So I think they did a pretty good job of making a modern building, but having a pullback to geologic times and how the rock looks out in nature. And here's a kind of a really pretty time lapse of the sun coming through and striking that brick. And I had beautiful music that went with this instead of my voice. So my apologies that you get my voice instead of the beautiful music. We couldn't figure out how to get it to work on the screen. All right, so that is the fly through. Dr. Hoag is going to tell a little bit more about the labs and what is happening inside. But it is a significant amount of space. I think this cut through is kind of fun to see. You can see at the lowest level, we've got some really important research that's done at that, I'll call it the basement level, where it's really required to have no movement and no motion. So we've got 2 layers that are or 1.5 layers that's essentially below ground. But the laboratories will be on the west side of the building, and then the administrative work will be on the other side, on the east side of the building. And this really was created so that USGS and Mines will really mingle together and have USGS labs next to Mines labs and be able to potentially in certain areas have shared use of facilities. So highly complex building with a lot of highly complex equipment, but really we think that this will be something important for both USGS and Mines. And then here's just a cut through of the other side of the building showing more of the administrative side. But again, Dr. Hoag will give you a lot more details on the actual work that will be done in the building. So on that, I am going to transition over to Dr. Hoag so she can provide us with more detail.
All right, thanks, Kirsten. I am going to attempt to share my screen here. And hopefully you can all see that. Are we good? All right, can everybody hear me okay? And you can see the presentation, Ruth and Kirsten?
Yes.
Yeah, you may want to put it in presentation mode, Terry.
Yes, good point. I thought I did. Trying to do that here. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay, I think we're ready to roll. So thanks, Kirsten. Yeah, she set it up really nice. I don't have as many pretty pictures as Kirsten. I have some text that we're going to have to get through. So, but yeah, super excited to talk to you today kind of about what we've been thinking about for collaborations and folks that might go in this building. So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on today. And happy to answer any questions you might have that pop up at the end, and just can write them in the chat or just keep them in your mind, and we'll answer them later. So basically, what I'm going to cover today is kind of, again, Kirsten showed the structure, but I'm going to talk a little bit about what groups we might put in place to kind of. Let me step back. What groups are we actually using to kind of organize the space in here? So we actually have to have some management structure of like deciding who's going to be in the building, what labs are going to be occupied, and how we're going to facilitate the interactions between the USGS and Mines. And then from that comes who's going to occupy the building. What are the key collaborative or research areas that we think will occur in this building? And then I think what's really important too is how do we measure success of these collaborations, right? How do we say, yes, this is really working well, and we can kind of show to, basically to the government and to the administration here and to the administration at the USGS that things are working well, and we're tracking that and trying to make sure we have ways to assess that. So we have two teams basically that kind of help to organize this. We have what we call the strategy team, which is kind of the bigger picture, objectives, goals, larger, I would say, initiative thinking for the building. And you can kind of see the big players here. We have Walt Kapan, who's the lead from Mines. He's the Vice President of Research and Technology Transfer here at Mines. And then we have Andrew Latner, who is our federal relations person. Myself and Kirsten are all on that team. From the USGS side, we have Sarah Riker, who is now currently the acting director of the USGS. So with the change in the administration, she's now pretty high up lead at the USGS. And then a few other folks from the USGS that are on the team there. And then what we have, what we calling our boots on the ground implementation team. And that is myself, Kelly Hummel from the VPRTT, Bill, Alexis, and Paul. They are all department heads here at School of Mines. Tom Elbrecht is a radiochemist from the chemistry department. Matt Morgan is the head of the Colorado Geological Survey and the state geologist. And then Monica is relatively new. She's also in the VPRTT office and works on federal relations. And then we have a very strong USGS team, Ofori, Chris, Jonathan, Ryan, who's at the Hazard Center, Jeannie, Teresa, and Greg. And Greg, I think, has been the main person kind of working on the building logistics with Kirsten and her team. So again, we kind of have two teams, big picture team that we meet, I think, a few times a semester, and then we have the implementation team that meets quite regularly to talk about explicit collaborations and things that we are doing to kind of facilitate interactions. So again, Kirsten talked a little bit about this, but the goals for this building really are to kind of form this central hub for collaborations between the two groups. We mentioned that there have been longstanding relationships. Many Mines faculty have been engaged with the USGS over the years. I myself have had projects with USGS scientists at the Fed Center. I'm a hydrologist. It's been more in the water area, but a lot of people have had these kind of grassroots, bottom-up collaborations. And this building is a way to kind of bring everyone together and have a really nice place to kind of facilitate those interactions and make a place for this to happen. As part of that, obviously, we have all these opportunities for education and to interact and get the USGS scientists helping us and working with us here on campus and engaging with our great students that we have. And again, as part of that, then we think about what is the workforce that we can help build from collaborations in this building and from working together. The USGS, as you know, has been very interested in this area. They have a lot of folks that were near retirement age. A lot of folks are probably taking the early retirement. They've lost some of their workforce with the change in administration. So again, a key deliverable out of this collaboration on all of these buildings is to kind of think about the workforce that we can help facilitate from collaborations and work in this building. And again, Mines and the USGS are leaders in mineral and energy research. Many of you know we have the #1 mining engineering department. We have the #2 petroleum engineering department in the world. Very strong and a leader in the mineral and energy economics space. So it's a perfect opportunity to think about how we continue to lead and drive kind of mineral and energy research forward with this building. The main research opportunities that we think about when we think about minerals and energy is, again, obviously critical minerals, which is still a key priority for the nation and for the world, thinking about how we facilitate the exploration and the extraction of those minerals and how we use them. Carbon capture, utilization, and storage has also been, we have faculty that are very strong in this area and will continue to work on that. Geothermal energy, we've got some great people in geophysics that have been working in this space, and there are also several USGS scientists that work in this. Geologic hydrogen. The trigger reactor is at the Fed Center. That is not moving over. That is where we have a radiochemist, Tom, who's on our implementation team. He works in this space, and we are working with the Fed Center, with the USGS at the Fed Center to get that kind of and keep that up and running. And Kirsten can probably answer more questions on that than I can if folks have questions. And then we have a very strong group here, especially some junior scientists and engineers here working in the environment, water, and climate space. That has been a key thematic area for the USGS, and we foresee continued collaborations in that research area. So how will we do some of these things? Well, a lot of things that can go on here. One of the main things we're doing here early on is thinking about joint faculty appointments or joint affiliate faculty appointments for USGS scientists here on campus. We want to make sure that the USGS scientists have access to all the great resources and things we do here on campus. So we're thinking about what those appointments might look like. There are probably several levels of engagement with faculty, depending on if they're research faculty appointments or just affiliate faculty appointments. But working on those kinds of things for the USGS scientists. We are developing joint seminar series. We have one starting this fall where we bring in some big speakers, again, and kind of have a hub for bringing all of our folks together in this space. We've already started having some early career scientist events. Kamini Singha, who's the associate dean in my office, and also a professor in geology, held an event a few weeks ago here in town and got super excited early career folks from the USGS and Mines together to talk about opportunities in this building. Lots of room for folks to get engaged in our curriculum here on campus. So we've got different opportunities. I'll talk a little bit more about that, where USGS scientists can plug in and help us in our curriculum delivery and bring their expertise to the classroom. Obviously, research projects will continue with the USGS and lots of student engagement there. And then we're thinking about ways that the USGS can partner with us in our senior design, our capstone projects, and also in field session projects. They're very excited to kind of think about how they can utilize our great students, both undergrads and grads, to help them in their research and what they're trying to build in their programs. So a little more on who will occupy eMurf. Mines has about 20 unique laboratories spread throughout the building for faculty and students. As Kirsten mentioned, they're integrated with the USGS labs, so they're all kind of commingled on the different floors. So they can go from lab to lab and meet in the hallways and talk. So they're not separated by, you know, here's a cluster of USGS, here's a cluster of Mines labs. They are commingled. These are some of the names of the labs that are going to be in there. We've had them labeled by topic, so mineralogy, obviously, isotope work, wet chemistry, electron beam, microscopy, XRD, or X-ray diffraction, a lot of wet lab kind of specs and things. So lots of really high-tech, new, beautiful labs that are going to be in this building. And what's exciting about that is that our students will have access to working in those very high-tech new facilities that are just going to be really kind of unique in this space. Offices and space for folks to sit. We've got about probably 70 Mines faculty and researchers and about 100 students right now that'll sit in the building. These are mostly from geology, geophysics, and mining. Probably a few from economics and business and some other spaces on campus that fit in this type of work that will go on. Those folks, faculty that have labs in the building will sit in the building, and then we have other thematic areas that will probably also be in the building based around like critical minerals or geothermal or hydrogen. Kirsten mentioned a classroom. I believe it's just under 50 students that are in that classroom, like 48, I think is the capacity or something. So we're super excited about that because we're always looking for new classroom space here on campus. And what's nice about that is it'll get students walking through the building, right? So it'll be nice to have kind of those undergrads and other students walking through and seeing what's going on in this building. And then there's multiple seminar rooms and meeting rooms, which will just be great meeting space for everyone. And then also kind of just small, more one-off space for folks to meet and talk about things they're doing, things that are going on in the building. I mentioned some of these thematic areas. So in addition to those folks that have labs in there, we are placing some folks that'll kind of, I would say, center around some of these thematic areas, and we'll have groups of scientists working on some of these. The big one, obviously, is critical minerals, and that'll include some of our mineral and energy economics folks from EB, from our economics and business department here. Subsurface energy is another big theme. Obviously, that ties in very well with things that are going on in the building. I mentioned geothermal, energy, water, environment, water, climate. Planetary science, we have an amazing space resources program here on campus. Maybe you've had that in some of your lunch bunch meetings and prior activities. So we see that they tie in really well kind of with the Earth and planetary sciences. And then energy futures, right? We're always talking about what is the future of energy here in the United States and globally, and obviously that's a big thematic area for this building. So a little bit more detail on kind of the explicit things we're working on to have this great experience between the USGS and Mines faculty and researchers. We talked about a joint seminar series. We expect to have several of these a year where we bring a very high profile speaker that works in the energy and mineral space. And then we'll have a reception, networking events. Our first event is actually scheduled now tentatively for September 25th. So we'll try to get the word out on that. It'll be open to whoever wants to come. So folks from this conversation are welcome to join. We'll have the speaker, we'll have networking. We plan to have posters up. Both the USGS and Mines scientists showing some of their work, and we'll have a social event around it. So we're really excited. That's probably our big kickoff event of this fall for getting folks together and kind of talking about eMurf and what's going to go on over there. I mentioned we are going to focus a lot on early career scientist events. We also plan to have smaller, like technical presentations combined with networking events on the Mines campus. We already have a lot of great Mines seminar series that go on. We'll probably tie into some of those, or we'll have unique events with the eMurf kind of title on them. I mentioned we had a recent social hour at Golden Mill, and there were about 20 folks that already showed up, early career scientists from USGS and Mines, and they were super excited to learn more about what's going to go on in this building and how they can participate. They're super excited to just get going on this, so it's really nice to see that energy. I mentioned joint and affiliate faculty appointments, where USGS scientists will have access to campus, our facilities, and any of the events that are going on here. We're even talking about how do we get them the daily blast? How do we make sure that they know all the events, great events that go on this campus? And because right now, they really don't all have access to that. So they're super excited to even see all these great seminar series we have going on and other events. I'm going to talk a little bit more about potential teaching opportunities and things that USGS scientists can engage in. Joint research projects. This is obviously the core of what's going to go on in that building, where we think about partnerships and proposals that will fund both Mines and USGS researchers. We foresee a lot of co-advising of students and having USGS scientists on thesis and dissertation committees. And again, what's nice about this building is that there will be these shared lab facilities and areas to give the researchers and students this great experience of this very state-of-the-art facility and equipment in there. Lots of opportunities for instructional engagement here. We're really looking to engage alumni, USGS scientists, and all kinds of folks in this new futures class that we have. So Ruth, I don't know if you have a lunch bunch centered on that, but it might be something we talk about for fall or spring, where we have freshmen taking this core. It's a new part of the core curriculum here at Mines, and we have all kinds of thematic areas in this futures course. Energy and minerals. We're having a mining one and critical minerals this fall. We're having a water thematic area. We have had carbon capture thematic areas. And we have guest lectures and consultants and alumni come in, and it's a really great opportunity for folks to come in and bring their expertise. So it's a perfect spot for us to bring in USGS scientists and other folks. I mentioned field session. The USGS scientists are already engaging with computer science students in their field session and thinking about things that they can help code and program and work on data projects for the USGS scientists. So a great opportunity for example, in that kind of work or collaboration. Capstone design projects are another area where the USGS is super excited to think about how they might utilize some of our senior students in the various departments that are engaged in capstone and be kind of a client for a project that might help the USGS in one of their research areas. And then there's also lots of research on independent studies I know that our students will do and internships with the USGS folks. And then how do we track all this, right? I mean, we want to make sure that we have something to show, Congress and other folks and administrators for both Mines and USGS that this was worth the investment, right? So we plan an annual kind of state of the partnership report where we talk about things that have been going on, highlight some research opportunities and research things that are going on, where the USGS has engaged on campus and partnerships. We probably will produce our first report next spring, and we'll have that available for folks to kind of see all of the great things that have been going on the last year. And the idea is to kind of have this, kind of annual state of the partnership report that comes out every year. And again, we'll probably have that released with some sort of Mines or USGS event. And then this is just a sheet of how we're going to try to track and document all those collaborations. So we'll collect data. We're starting to do that now, where we're surveying folks that are, initially have interactions with the Mines and USGS collaborations, thinking about different measures. And again, this will feed into that annual report that we will do. So thinking about, how many publications are we doing together? How many events have we had? How many students are in the building? And how many are working with the USGS and Mines researchers? So it's kind of exciting to think about the things that we can really start to track and show in this partnership. And with that, just a couple more slides. The last one here is we've had a lot of great support from our federal relations team here at Mines. Andrew Latner has just been amazing and helping kind of highlight some of the research that does go on in this building or what will go on in this building, and has really been kind of key in helping folks like Kirsten and others track what's going on at the federal level. and think about the USGS staffing needs, our partnership, and in the research. And really importantly, he helps get us out there, right? This is Elizabeth Holly, you see her on the slide, and in September she testified before Congress. And so it's really important that we kind of keep those really high profile events going, and getting our great faculty out there and scientists, showing all the great work that does go on here at Mines and that will continue to go on here with this new great building, and how that'll kind of really facilitate even more in this space. So I think with that, I'm open to questions, and I think Kirsten is also. So thanks for your attention, and we'll open it up to questions. And I'll stop sharing my screen.
I do see some questions in the chat, and for those who entered those, Dan, do you want to ask your question? And we'll just go down the row here. Oh, make sure to unmute. There you go.
The technology wins again. My question was, are there any mines departments who would be headquartered in the building?
Yeah, I guess it's a great question, Dan. We are not putting all of one department in the building. So we're putting various faculty that we're focusing more on folks that have key research or science interests in the building, right? So, but mainly it will be geophysics, geology, and mining, I think, as I mentioned. But geophysics will also be now in the top of the new east building, which is the garage and the classroom building that's brand new, that's just to the east of this. So geophysics is also in there, and geology is also in Berthoud, and mining is also in other buildings here on campus. So it won't just be one department. We're purposely not doing that so that we can have really be a research and thematic hub for folks working in this space.
Thanks.
See a note here from one of our alums who is joining us from Turkey. How cool is that, everybody? Thank you for your nice note, and hello to you. I see a comment here from Steve James. Steve, do you want to elaborate on your question? I think everyone can see it, but you want to unmute and chime in?
Okay, I moved to a quieter space. I was outside, and then my neighbor decided to mow his lawn.
Oh,
So
the beauty of virtual programming.
I guess this is for Terry, but because the present federal administration's decided to drastically cut science funding in its budget proposals, have you received any indication from USGS if fewer people will be moving to the new building than planned?
Yeah, actually, I think Kirsten has probably better handle on the numbers, but yes, I'll let Kirsten answer the rest of that.
Yeah, so great question. And as with really most of the federal agencies, there have been opportunities for people to take early retirements or just early outs of that particular agency. And then some agencies have cut altogether, but we originally thought there was going to be about 250 scientists and researchers from USGS coming. It'll probably be maybe a little bit over 200. So it will, the number of people coming over will be less than what we had originally planned.
Okay, but not a drastic reduction. What about in terms of the building maintenance and facility maintenance? Any indication how much more Mines will have to take on itself?
Yeah, so great question. So, as you said, it's not anything that's necessarily drastic, but the maintenance. So this is an interesting arrangement where the federal government is leasing our land, and then Mines is leasing our space in the building because it's a federal building. And so we will occupy what we've originally occupied. We will maintain and operate the building. and the utilities and whatnot, and USGS will be paying, or the federal government will be paying to maintain and operate their proportion of the building, which is the majority of it. So we've got, so no changes so far. Our team is working on all the details right now of the operations and the maintenance and how the utilities will work. But no changes there. It's just USGS is, at least right now will likely be bringing less people. I will say, they will be needing to hire because as you can imagine, the minerals division and energy division are getting quite a bit of traffic from DC with reports and questions and studies and surveys. So they're very, very busy.
Kirsten and Terry, will the current USGS, the folks at the Federal Center right now, you mentioned that, there's a lot of folks that are going to be coming over to our new building when it's ready. But does that mean that the folks at 6th and Kipling are going to shut down? Or will they still have a presence there?
Well, the 6th and Kipling has more than the minerals and the energy division. But it's my understanding that everyone from minerals and energy is coming over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but as Terry had mentioned, there's actually a building over there that we have space in. It's where the nuclear reactor, and there's a nuclear reactor there that we utilize. So there will be activity that still goes on at 6th and Kipling, but it's I believe in the minerals division and energy in their entirety are moving over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
If you're in Golden, I would highly recommend you just saunter through campus. We have a lot of building going on. It's really fun, really exciting.
I have a question. The USGS library on the Federal Center, will it be still maintained on the Federal Center?
I believe for now, I'm not familiar with those decisions, but I believe it would, but I'm not certain of that, Joe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I imagine parking will continue to be interesting. So thank goodness for the new garage that can accommodate these folks coming over. Right next door.
Absolutely.
So well timed. Well timed.
If it's quiet, I have one more question, if that's okay with the group
Of
there.
course.
And one of the things that you mentioned was capstone, and I think it would be great to expand capstone to include the disciplines that are going to be in this building. But right now, capstone by its charter sort of excludes, the extractive industry. So is that going to be something where we're looking forward to expanding capstone if USGS supports it?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's multiple ways we can go about this. I think our capstone right now is not necessarily we're purposely excluding those other groups. It's more just what are the current curriculum in each of the departments doing to meet their capstone or kind of their senior design requirements. We need that for our ABET and accreditation. So there's talk of what would maybe an Earth capstone look like, right? Where we think about instead of mining and geology and geophysics having separate capstone experiences, that we somehow think of a capstone in that and within that group. So there's talk of that. So I think there's opportunities to both use the existing capstone structure, which has mechanical, civil, environmental, and electrical, and also thinking about either the individual capstones in the Earth programs or some sort of unique capstone that we develop that merges some of those departments. So there's talk of that too. This week, field sessions, or this month, field session is going on. And I think for the first time ever, geology is joining with geophysics for a couple of weeks up in Steamboat. And so they're doing a little bit of a joint field session. So we're seeing more of that kind of collaboration now between the departments. And we expect much more of that to go on between the Earth departments as we go forward. The USGS building just makes it opportune to really think about how we, I would say, better integrate our Earth programs as we go forward. Good question.
I just wanted to thank Kirsten and Terry for this informative and update on this important thing that's going on, because I think this is a partnership that is just going to be amazing and really help keep Mines in the forefront of being an outstanding, higher education institution.
Thank you, Rod. Wonderful to see you today. Yeah, you are right. This is a partnership that we're so proud that it's been longstanding, and that that we really think that this can elevate Mines in a truly significant way. So we're very excited about it.
I have a question. What role will the Colorado Geological Survey, I believe they're located in Guggenheim, right? Or in Berthoud right now, aren't they?
No, they're actually in a building that's just west of 6th Avenue, in a building that we call the Molly Building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they will not have any part in this new building, or?
Well, I think Terry will explain, but they're part of the planning process of implementation. But Terry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Good question, Joe. Yeah, Matt is on the implementation team, our state geologist and the head of the Colorado Geological Survey. And our goal is to kind of probably have some hoteling space for the Colorado Geological Survey scientists, so they can come and go, and that they have some presence in this building. So we think it's really critical to have them engaged and have a presence there. So we do plan some, I guess I would say, shared or hoteling space for Mines faculty, and they will be part of that. So they'll have space in the building.
Hey, any other questions, comments for the good of the order? Everyone's in awe. Everyone's like, wow, this is a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal. I'm excited. Yeah. And there's been so many wonderful new additions to this campus over the years. But wow, I mean, this one just brings so many disciplines together in such unique and impactful ways. Yeah, it's great. So maybe as the opening date gets closer, I don't know, don't want to put words in anyone's mouths, but maybe there would be an opportunity for some sneak peek kind of hard hat tours. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's always fun. Sherry's got a question. Do you want to go ahead and ask it? Sherry, you can unmute and just.
It's not a question. It was just a comment. I'm on the procurement and contracting side of things. And so I'm intimately involved with the EMRF building. And it is extremely exciting and important. And anyone I think that's involved with it is just, we all feel privileged to be able to put our mark on it, so to speak. So.
Thank you for sharing. And I'm excited to add another acronym to the Minds glossary. How about that?
I know.
Gotta love that. When I first came to work here, there were just so many, and I think I finally figured it out all these years later what they all mean. No, it's great. It's great. All right, well, we are at about 5 minutes till the top of the hour, and I just wanted to remind everyone before we start logging off. Again, we are taking the months of June and July off from Lunch Bunch, so you won't see us for a bit, but we'll be back in the saddle come August with the new academic year starting up. So please look for us. We'll continue August, September, October, November online. And for those of you locally, we will again do our December, our last program of the calendar year, our December program in person with President Johnson, Q&A with the president. So that's always fun to have his ear and hear his perspective on things while we enjoy lunch. So stay tuned for more details as the academic year unfolds. Thank you so much, Kirsten and Terry. Amazing stuff. We'll continue to watch outside the window here and as we walk by to see this facility take shape. It's truly remarkable.
Thank
I would encourage anyone, if you have further questions, you can shoot them my way. I can forward them. We're happy to address those. Things always come up after you log off and you think, oh, darn it, I should have asked this question. But happy to continue to address those as we go. Again, if you have ideas for future programs, we'd love to hear them. And thank you so much for a wonderful semester of programs. It's great to see you. And we will see you again in August. Thanks all. And
Thanks,
go
Ruth.
Diggers always. Okay. Take care, guys.